This is a spin on the conversation about how people are dealing with hard real estate transaction right now. And Courtney and I love having conversations about hard real estate deals. And Lewis and Nicole navigate those types of situations in a very specific way. And I think that if you're a real estate professional or just a business owner in general and want to learn how to deal with hard situations within your business, this is a great conversation for you to listen to.
Let's continue the conversation around when things get tough.
Yeah.
So whether it's a tough deal, tough clients, whatever that may be, how do you guys as a team handle, is there a specific tough deal or just when the tough side of real estate, not just talking about the market, but what are some of the things, I know we talked about earlier on the, the problem solving side. That's such a skill set needed in real estate to be able to overcome this. And again, this is not all easy, right? People think, the memes of like, what do they think we do for a living, right? Like it's, I promise you it's not what, I don't even watch the TV shows, whatever TV show is, I promise you it's not that.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, a girl that spins with me, she's been training me for a number of years, and she reached out to me. She recently lost her job. I said, well, have you thought, she's been in sales her whole life off and on, and she lost her job. And I said, would you be interested in doing real estate? She says, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with that. She, first off, said she was a little too old to get back in real estate, which was silly. You're never too old to get in real estate if that's something you want to do. And she's an excellent salesperson, but she says she's seen it firsthand that it can be a brutal business, and no doubt. And she said, I appreciate the offer, but it's not something for me. Like,
keeping your emotions out of it sounds like so lovely and flowery. It's just really hard because you're also just a person and you're getting barked at or treated. I don't know that I've had any like nightmare clients. I've had some that were tough, and then I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. And if it falls apart, so be it. I'm not going to get so attached to it.
Yeah.
I've been more like aggressive towards by other agents mistreat me more than clients do. So that part's really hard. And I guess
I think agents get in more ways in the way of
transactions.
Than
I'm gonna shut my mouth here.
When we talked about,
I'm just kidding.
but
maybe not.
When we were prepping for this conversation, you talked about that the fun part is structuring in a hard deal. You said that, right? And so, I think that you're right to say that. And whenever you're good and you have a process at structuring the deals the right way, some agents get frustrated because you catch them, right, and making a mistake, but it's to your benefit and it is how the game is played. So they gotta live with it. But also, I think that having open communication and structuring a deal really well will solve a lot of those problems, or at least will put yourself in the best position, even if the other person might not be doing so.
So it's like always a jigsaw puzzle, and it's fun and the sense of accomplishment when it is hard of doing it. Knowing what the steps are in a transaction, knowing that really, really well, the ins and outs and all the different ways it can present for this and it can present for this, allows you as an agent to not get so caught up when it veers off. But okay, if I do one of 6 options, we'll still get to the next step. And if we do, so it's knowing so much and having so much. I think helpful with the team is that we're exposed to other agents' transactions as well that we weren't necessarily part of, so that you can also, you're part of 18 transactions in 1 month. You're like, wow, there's just so many different things. So you're learning a lot because we talk about all the issues, and we would go over anything that was like out of the ordinary, or how would you handle this, or what was the verbiage, and now with the new compensation, like how are you saying it, or so all those things were helpful. But he's like emotions like steady when people come at him, so he has this good like guard about it, and I'm highly emotional, so there's like a nice balance, like you complete me thing. So I think sometimes we also know what clients I'm like, dude, I can't, like, even if they're my friends or whatever, I'll be like, I'm gonna tell you what, they're gonna trigger me every time. I think that's gonna be a better you thing. And so knowing yourself is very important, because I can't let my emotions, or knowing it's gonna be a 60-day transaction where they're gonna hurt my feelings the whole time, I'm allowed to say, like, you know what, they're not gonna bother you. Why don't you just handle that?
You gotta understand, self-awareness is the key to
like, I can help you, but if you're gonna make me miserable, I don't need to. So and then the agents, there's a lot more agents that like, I don't know, whatever. But that's a little bit harder because you're already in the transaction. You can't choose, so you just have to learn.
That's the power of being in a team, though. Because if you're solo, what are you gonna do? Spin around the chair, be like, let me spit on a new hat, No, it's like you, yourself, and I, right? But so you can say, hey, I'm not the right personality fit, or, hey, I'll be honest, we talked before this how we hired a wedding planner recently. Yeah. When we were interviewing them, one of my main questions were, do you have a team or not?
Right.
Who is your team? Because I wanted to know, was I just going to get 100% of this person, which is good and bad, or would I basically get the strengths and weaknesses of multiple team members?
Beautiful.
You know, and so that was actually a factor for me in hiring, because that was something that I was looking for in that process, right? And I'll say this is, you know, as far as agents getting in the way, I love, you know, I've worked with, at this point, I have to count it out, but close to maybe 100 agents in our region. An old school creative finance quote is that a confused mind says no, or a confused mind says you can't do that, right? And I find that all the time. And so I appreciate when people are learning based. Like when you and I jumped on the phone call, you know, a while back, it's also knowing who you can call to figure things out. Because if people are just like, no, you can't do that. Well, did you go and vet it out? Did you go and get, you know, ask some more questions?
Right.
Because look, none of us know it all. And look, I can promise you every market will demand something different of us. And that is a huge part of, I actually get worried when people are so engraved of it has to go one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
especially
man,
in this market, you're not going to survive. You're not going to get deals closed if you don't have
You
that
can't know
open
everything
mindset
about
or
everything.
different alternatives, or
That's-
what if we tried it that way? This might work. Let's try this. What if it did work? You know, using questions like that, and then keeping them open-minded throughout the process, regardless if it's an agent or a buyer or a seller or a title, whatever. Let's just think around different things before we pull the trigger and say
I think knowing that it's all such high emotion, like this is where their kids are going to lay down to sleep.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, they don't know where they're going to live. Today, this is where their kids, like there's a lot of emotion for them. If you could just keep, again, the human, like when they're getting angry or whatever, you could just get off the phone for a minute and go like, God, that must suck. Like that was intense. And then you got to regroup and be like, I know what the next step has to be. Can I just get it to there?
Yeah.
And then you go, you know.
Somebody made the joke the other day. They were like, yeah, my buyer wanted these things to get repaired, and the seller was so upset because like this mark on the wall was a little Johnny like scratched the wall. It's like it's a scratch on the wall. Like you need to get that fixed for the clothing. And and you know, we get to hear it because we'll get it from both sides whenever people are negotiating. And what do I do? How can I help solve this problem? And you know, I think that one of the things that we do as a title company that helps us be able to pivot and address difficult situations, that we have a team. And everybody has a process, and they follow different steps. And if something is out of the ordinary, that's when they ask an attorney to step in. So I'm not putting my hands on every file. I'm putting my hands on the ones that need my assistance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so having the team, like the transaction coordinators and the admins and everybody else, checking the system and then saying, hey, this one needs to be addressed, allows you to step in and be like, I need to go handle this issue as it pops up.
The high level.
It's like
picking up.
like
agent.
football, you know, like you do the basics. We teach to the basics really, really well. We have that really well structured,
Yeah.
and then the out of the ordinary is when we got to step in and like think about it, kind of like that.
If an agent has a shaky deal or something come up, they usually reach out to either me or Nicole, and we talk them through some scenarios, and we get them prepped before they make the call. We get their emotion back in check first and foremost.
Yeah.
Then we give them alternative solutions that they can present to their client, to the other agent, etc., to try to close the deal.
Yeah.
I think that's so critical, because we always fall to our baseline of our training, which is the fundamentals. It should be the basics and the fundamentals. But then there's always going to be a level where we need some high level problem solving, right?
Yeah.
You don't want your day to run you where you're just constantly, but you're like, there's going to be points where you have to step in. So
And that's
really,
the power of the team, because sometimes my agent partner has just as good idea as I do, and we can bounce ideas off of each other, and then we can come to a conclusion that this is the best case scenario. Let's present this and see if we can make it work.
Napoleon Hill talks about the power of a mastermind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's a constant mastermind.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear more content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We post conversations around our podcast on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we have real estate-related conversations. And on Thursday, we showcase part of our Arena Collective story. If you want to learn how to be a better business person, this is where you'll find that content. Please like, subscribe, and follow us. We look forward to seeing you on our page.